Hello and welcome to BT Skills for Tomorrow. My name is Karensa Jennings and I'm BT's Digital Impact Director. I run Skills for Tomorrow. We actually set up the programme a few months ago and it's designed to help communities all over the UK in different ways to develop their confidence online and to develop their digital skills. Now more than ever with COVID-19, it's really important that we're here to support you. We want to help you develop your confidence. We want you to help you reach your digital routes to market. We want you to help promote your products and services to your customers, and we really want you to succeed. We've put together this program of webinars, which are completely free for you and for your co-workers. We want to help inspire you to start using some of the collaboration tools that will genuinely help you save time and money and help you get your routes to market quicker. It's really important that you feel confident with digital tools and that you're able to communicate with your co-workers really effectively. Working remotely is a challenge for all of us. I'm working from home right now. It's a challenge for absolutely all of us. And you just have to adapt. You have to adapt really quickly and turn to valuable advice where you can get it. We've been talking to a huge number of small businesses ourselves through our partners, Small Business Britain, and also Google Digital Garage. We've been listening to the way that people are facing all kinds of different challenges and problems at the moment. We're trying to respond rapidly with the types of help, advice and support that we feel is most useful to you. So we're starting with some key tools around collaboration, digital marketing, and also how to optimize your business model. We want to help you take your business online so that you can discover your customers and that they can discover you. It's really important as well that you open up communication channels with your customers. Now more than ever, it's the human side of business, that's what matters, and that's what we're trying to help you do. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to #Skills for Tomorrow. I really hope that you learned something valuable. I hope you learned some good top tips, and I hope you tell others about us. We're here to help you. It's BT Skills for Tomorrow. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Barnfield, and I'm here to take you through this webinar, Staying Connected on Social Media. I am with you right now, but I have actually recorded this video in advance, just in case there are any technical glitches. So please ask any questions as we go through this webinar, because I'm live on chat, even though I was here before you all got here, if you know what I mean. So what are we going to cover on this? I'm going to say move slides because somebody else is pressing the button in real time on the other end of the webinar, the joys of virtual working. So on the agenda slide, I'll go through some instructions in a moment. We're going to look at why social media matters, particularly now. We're going to look at the engagement for some national brands, a case study that has just blown me out of the water from an SME who's really worked out how to trade very differently through COVID-19, and then a Q&A session. As I said, as we go through the webinar, please do ask questions as we go through, because we're really happy to answer them in chat. Nobody, you won't be called out, we'll just be responding on chat. So please fire the questions across any time. Just a bit about me. I'm the founder and CEO of Maybe. I created Maybe because I believe that social media has changed the way we communicate forever. I think the way that as a society we communicate has changed unbelievably in a very short space of time. I think a lot of businesses are working out how to catch up with that. So moving on to slide 4. Just to put this into context, there are 7.7 billion people on our planet. 5 billion of them use a mobile phone, 5 billion of them are connected to internet, and 3.8 billion of them use social media. And that has happened in 15 years, moving on to slide 5. So in 15 years, 3.8 billion people have learned a new way to talk to each other. 2.5 billion people use Facebook, 1 billion use Facebook, they're actually both the same company. Never be told that Facebook is not, it doesn't work still. It's still a massive channel to reach people through and is very responsive. Twitter, 330 million users, Snapchat, 210 million users, TikTok is fast coming along. They are all relevant, they're all important. Move on to the next slide, slide 6. So Facebook, this is looking at what people do on each channel. Never think you can put the same content on each channel. It makes me really cross when people are told that, because as a consumer, I'm there for different reasons on each channel. And it's really important as a brand or as a business, you match that content to your channel. So Facebook is very much about who I am. Twitter is what I do is what I'm doing now, and can be more B2B. So if you're B2B, definitely Twitter's a good place to be. YouTube, from a consumer perspective, is what's entertaining, what's educational. Instagram is very much how I see the world, so expression. Remember that any content you link to, it's got to work from mobile, because in the main, consumers are on social media on a mobile device. And Pinterest is a sort of very much an expression channel. LinkedIn's not on here, but LinkedIn is the B2B channel. They're all relevant, depends upon your business. Find the right content for the right channel, but never try and put the same content on each channel. So moving on to slide 7. It can be the same content, needs to be different context. I'll just clarify that. So on slide 7, in every minute of every day, I find this quite mind-blowing. On every minute, in every day, 50,000 Instagram users post photos to their channels. 500,000 people put comments on Facebook pages. 500,000 people send tweets. And users watch over 4 million YouTube videos every single day, every single minute of every single day. 300,000 people join Facebook every minute, and more than 120 professionals join LinkedIn every single minute of every single day. Let that sink in for a minute. So social media is not a channel to be left in the corner of a business. It's a channel right now to be brought to the forefront of a business, because it is the way to reach your customer. Whatever you're doing on social media, always stop and think. It's not just about what you post. In fact, I would argue it's much less about what you post and much more about how you respond. Social media is a conversational channel. Let me repeat that. It's a conversational channel. It's not a place where I go to be shouted at. It's a place that I go to engage and interact with. How do you use social media? And brands have to find a way to do that. They have to find a way to accept and embrace the fact that we are all publishers now. People are 7 times likely to buy from a brand that they follow on social media, but the challenge that every business and every brand has to answer is, why would an individual follow and engage with you on social media? And that key word is engage, because the currency that matters most on social media is engagement. Let me repeat that. The currency that matters most on social media is engagement. Without engagement, you have nothing. It's much better to have small followers who are well engaged than an enormous following with no engagement at all. Moving on to slide 9. A couple of slides that really sort of frame why Maybe exists, and I think it's also a really stark reality of where we are on social media. Pre-COVID-19, consumers were spending an average of 2 hours and 22 minutes using social media every single day. Against that, and we know this because you measure that the social output of 300,000 businesses across 1,300 high streets, up to 78% of high street organisations were not active on social media. Let me repeat that. Up to 78% of high street organisations are not active on social media on a daily basis. So they have social media accounts, but they don't engage with anybody on a daily basis. Now, during COVID-19, this is not surprising, but it's very frightening. Consumers are now spending much more time. So consumer use of social media has increased by 40%. So I think that gets us up to about 4 hours a day on social media. But against that, high street organisations are now even less active. So 88% of high street organisations are not active on social media. It's dropping like a stone. You could say, well, that's not surprising because businesses are shut, but customers are still there. They still need communicating with. And if you don't communicate with them, somebody else will. So moving on to slide 11. This is a graph that we are plotting. This is showing for 6 towns, but actually we're tracking it across 1,300 towns. And what it is it's all of the organisations within 1,300 towns, well, 300,000 organisations within 1,300 towns. So it's a very, very broad representation of how much noise the high street is making. And as you can see, pre-COVID, there was a really straight line. Everybody had the same level of activity. And you see the percentage of businesses active on social media on the y-axis. But when it was announced the pubs were shutting, there was a real big spike. Everybody talked about it more. And then from the moment the lockdown happened, the volume of activity across all social media channels, and this is Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, in all towns followed the same pattern and started to drop off. So we've now seen about a 15% drop in all towns' communications through their social channels since COVID started. So that means that businesses are talking to consumers much less. Against that, consumers are spending more time online. So moving on to the following slide. We are working with the High Street Task Force, and they are tracking footfall with Springboard, and not surprisingly, the footfall has dropped to record lows, which is what we unusually want to see, but it's particularly what we want to see during lockdown. But the concern for us is that the digital social media data says that the communications have also dropped as well. And that's going to make it even harder for businesses to get customers back because customers change habits. So this presentation very much focuses on businesses that haven't dropped their level of conversation. It focuses on what they're doing to remain connected with their customers. And in particular, it focuses on one that has managed to use social media to completely reverse the sales pattern of their last year's trading data and increase their web sales through social media. So the message, in case you haven't caught it, is your customers are your business's most valuable assets. You need to stay in touch. Doesn't matter whether you're shut, it doesn't matter how terrible the world is right now. You need to stay in touch, because if you don't, you're letting the asset creep away. So social media is all about storytelling. The question to ask yourself every day is, what is your story, and who do you want to tell? No, not tell. Who do you want to engage with it? Remember that word, who do you want to engage with it? So moving on to slide 15, beg your pardon. We'll have a look at a range of businesses and look at how they're engaging through COVID, because one of the hardest things is, well, what story do I want to tell during COVID? Because everything has changed. You don't know when you're going to be open again. You don't know whether you can sell things. You know, everything. Doesn't matter, you're a bank, you're a shopping centre, a solicitors, a baker's, everything has changed for all of us. So here are some really simple examples. NatWest turned their buildings blue in support of the NHS. A shopping centre in Chesterfield called Vicar Lane did a very similar thing. And in both cases, you can see the level of engagement. 15,000 people engaged with the NatWest post, and in Vicar Lane, which is a small shopping centre in a market town in Chesterfield, they had 600 engagements and 41 comments. The graph at the bottom is our sentiment analysis graph from the Maven platform, where this is looking at what is being said about a brand. And you can see here that on the 23rd of March, they had a really big spike in positive content. That's the green colour is driven from the words that people posted in those comments. And that was Mother's Day. So that was when they were open. Now, on April the 2nd, when the shopping centre was shut, with the exception of Iceland and a couple of other brands, they posted this picture of the lights they turned on Thursday in solidarity with the NHS and the Clap for Carers, and look at that lovely big green spike. And you see also, interestingly, how the level of positivity about the centre is bigger during lockdown than it is pre-lockdown. And that's a real commendation for their social strategy, because you can see how, although the shopping centre is shut, they're remaining in connection with their audience, which is what is so key at the moment. And that's what we're seeing a lot of brands not doing, and I worry for them. So moving on to the next slide. This, on slide 16, this is looking at Tesco's. Now, clearly Tesco's are doing an extraordinary job, like all other grocers and convenience stores, feeding the nation. But they're not shouting about them. What they're doing is creating content that is really engaging their audience. So in this example, they've got a post about asking consumers or customers to share their favourite, share a video of a dish you'd like to dedicate to somebody, which is really clever, because they're asking people to upload videos and tag people into their comments, which is creating that engagement. Remember I said at the beginning, social is all about engagement. Well, here's a really good example of a way to create content, especially during these challenging times, that's just engaging the audience. We all need entertainment right now, and this is a really good way of getting people to engage. You'll also notice that in the comments there are some negative pieces. That happens. Never worry about negative stuff on social. It's, you know, let's be brutal. We all have discussions about things, positive and negative, in all sorts of different ways. So just because it happens on social, it's not a showstopper. What matters is how you respond. Graph on the right again shows how you can see that during COVID their engagement is spiked beyond all recognition. So not only have Tesco's got to manage an extraordinary challenge in store, they've also got to manage an extraordinary challenge through all their digital channels as well. So hats off to you guys, great job. Here's an example of Boohoo, moving on to slide 17. So Boohoo, pure play online retailer, you know, selling in the main great clothes for going out in, you know, they're fun clothes. Well, hey ho, we're not going out at the moment, guys. So Boohoo have been really quick to respond and have started creating a whole range of loungewear, at-home wear that's more relevant. I also read that they've done something really clever, which is they've come up with a lot of new tops that are suitable for wearing on Zoom, because I'm probably not dressed as well as I should be, but hey, sorry. But you never know what people wear in their bottom half, and I'm certain I'll reveal that. But what the boom has gone up in buying smart tops, so you look good on good Zoom calls. But here you can see how they've created a product range that's relevant now. And again, you can see on the comments, they've got some positive, some negative. That happens. But I think really what I want to show you here is that good social is not about everybody saying you're marvellous. It's about people engaging with you. Good, bad or indifferent, engagement is what matters. But again, Boohoo, I saw something over the weekend about some extraordinary numbers that they've just published, and how their sales are going through the roof because they've worked out what the customer wants is homeware. You see they've got a rainbow on it. They're thinking about the NHS, and Zoom wear is the new big thing. But their content it represents that and engages their audience. Remember, it's all about engagement. So moving on to slide 18, I think this is really well worth a discussion. This is content from Primark. Now here's a business that's gone from over £600 million a month, just amazing, to zero. They can't sell anything because Primark is actually like a lot of SMEs on my street. They have no online presence at all. They have never started e-commerce. So they really have got nowhere to sell their product. So their social media today is all about lifestyle, things you can do at home, how to do your nails beautifully, and that they have not missed a beat with their social. Again, really amazing, complete switch in their communication. They're not selling anything. They're just remaining in touch with their customers. And I think this is a case study that many businesses need to look at. Be fascinated to see when Primark are allowed to open again, how it works. So I know there's a lot of talk about sustainability, and are we all going to be have a different view on things. But whatever happens, Primark right now are doing a great job on staying in touch with their customers. And we dug into that a bit more by looking at their data. So we can see here, the top graph, top left, is what Primark are saying. So you can see how their level of engagement, so that's the light purple, hasn't dropped. If you look at March the 17th, 19th, that's when they went into the talk of lockdown. And on March 23rd, when we went into lockdown, their content didn't stop. Their content is a little tiny thin ribbon of purple at the bottom, which you can't see because of the scale on the graph. But look at the level of comments on their content. It's about 25,000 a day. There was a big spike on the day that locked out, the pubs locked down, 100,000. But the graph on the right-hand side, what is being said about Primark, this is what I find so extraordinary. Look, you can see they have a level of 20,000 people that talk about them every day. And it hasn't moved. It hasn't moved since the day their shop shut. Same with the sentiment. As you can see, predominantly green, there's red, there's always red, don't worry about it. But the red, which lets you see what's really negative. The big spike in red, actually just at the end of the graph is worth noting. There was a factory that burned 8 years ago in Bangladesh and killed, I can't say that word, Bangladesh, and very sadly killed thousands of workers. It wasn't just Primark, it was a range of fashion brands that had their garments made there. But you can see a spike there. It'll be interesting to see how Primark react to that and what they do in respect to it. But this data is all their data from Twitter, Facebook and Instagram, pushed back to them in one view. But the point here is that they haven't stopped communicating and their customers haven't lost a connection with them. And this word cloud shows what the customers are talking about. And it's predominantly Primark. You know, they haven't lost the love, they're at home, but they're still engaging with Primark's content. And this is how Primark are doing it. They're keeping their content very much focused on consumers. and their problems. So like Boohoo, they've thought about the whole Zoom world, and there are other video players available, I must say. They've done great content around a beginner's guide to video meetings. They're looking at how to recreate their little moments at home, how to celebrate your birthday in isolation, all content that's really on topic for their audience. And that is what is enabling to create those great engagement stats I showed you earlier on, just on the previous slide. So moving on again, quick look at innocent drinks. This is slide 21, before we move on to looking at some SME engagement. The Innocent caught our eye because they are a brand that's trading really well right now in all supermarkets. So they're probably, their numbers are good, but their content is really on message for today. They've really got how their customers are feeling. This example from Twitter, I think, is splendid. I think we can all relate to this. Things to do inside today: clean the kitchen, have a little stretch, call the grandparent, clean the kitchen again, search dog dressed as two dogs carrying a present, clean the kitchen for a third time, haven't cleaned the kitchen in a while, clean the kitchen again. We can all relate to that, and you can see the level of engagement they're getting on it. It's not about them, it's about their audience, and it's driving value. It makes me feel good about their brand. And as I said at the beginning, remember we looked at those slides that said think about how the content works across each channels. So this is Twitter, but if you move on to slide 24, you can see how they're using a longer form on Facebook on the left. On Instagram, they've taken the same vibe and they've talked into things you can do. So think you can grow things in innocent smoothie pots or near Hatston. They've just got it. And you can see here the graph at the bottom, out of 35 posts, they've had over 11,000 engagements. And that is the currency of social. And your job right now is to think, what is it that you can do that will engage your audience in the same way? Now moving on to slide 24, 23 even, beg your pardon, I heard myself. Don't get writer's block. Don't sit there and blind banking and think, I can't do what it is to do, I'm not that clever. Most of us aren't. But there are some lovely, lovely local examples of SMEs that are just being honest. And when you see that content, engage with it, because the truth is, you don't always have to be the publisher. You can just be the person that engages with great content. So seek out all of those businesses that are local to you and engage with their content and collectively start making some noise. We work with a range of business improvement districts and town centres and shopping centres, and what we're saying to them is it's your collective noise that matters most. Yes, you will come up with something great and something clever, but right now what matters is the support and solidarity you share with each other, because that helps you reach more customers. So you can see here, it's okay to walk away and take a moment to collect yourself and just breathe. That sort of content you want to be part of, share it. Lovely piece of content from Rose and Mines. In these troubling times, we'd like our customers to know how much we appreciate their support, as well as what we're doing to protect you and our wonderful staff. Those are lovely messages. Engage with them. Don't feel that because you haven't published anything, you can't engage. I do it sometimes. I forget, I'm too busy. And so actually, if you look at my feeds as an individual, I tend to be engaging more and posting less. Sometimes that works just as well. The other piece is make sure that you tell people what's going on right now. So tell them if you're changing your services, tell them if you're changing your opening times, make sure you do it on social, but also make sure you do it on your Google My Business, all of those places where people look. Make sure you communicate your opening times. If you've got the juices, creative juices to inspire people, brilliant. If you haven't, join in the conversation, keep them informed and inspire other people as much as you possibly can. We all want to smile today, you know. And then I think, yeah, moving on to slide 24. Well, this is a real shout out. I don't know about you, but I've got to the point where I thought I'm going to try and climb through our cupboards and eat those things that get left at home for too long. And this is a case in point of content being on point. So here is a bar that clearly can't serve any drinks, and they say back in the day, when we only started panic buying when the bartender called last orders. Well, the truth is now you can get to the cupboard and there's no drink left except that really dodgy bottle of toffee vodka or something. And so they have come up with a recipe for a quarantini, which basically says whatever you've got, you can put in a glass and stick a cocktail umbrella in it and call it a quarantini. But fun, it's fun, and it's finger stopping, and it means that woodcraft remain front of mind. And when you can go out and have a drink again, if they keep doing that, I guarantee you their audience will think, going to go to woodcraft. And that is the job. That is the job to do with social while you're shut, is think, how do I stay in touch with my customer? Now, I'd like to share with you a case study from a shoe retailer called Keith Garrett. I'd like to thank them very much for sharing. They've shared their revenue details and their order numbers, which I think is a very generous thing to have done. We have actually redacted the numbers, but you get to see the shape of the graph. Now, if you look at any of the news at the moment, everybody will tell you that, I looked at the top 100 rises and the top 100 fallers, and the top 100 rises are clearly things like latex gloves, hand sanitizer, at-home gym wear, at-home gym equipment. But if you sell high-end ladies' fashion shoes, you're dropped. You're one of the, I think, the minus 44 on the list of things that people want to buy. This is a tough call. How do you sell high-end shoes that people normally come in store to buy during COVID-19? And let me show you something. So Keith Garrett shoes sell expensive Italian shoes, beautiful but expensive Italian shoes. They have a lovely store in Cheltenham. They trade in store and they have a website as well, but they only trade from one presence. They have great social channels, which they started about 2 years ago, and the graph on the right shows you their year-on-year web sales. The light, I think I'm getting ahead of myself. The light grey is the year-on-year is the 2019. Oh, beg your pardon. Is the 2019 data, and the purple data is the data for this year, and you can see the spike. So, looking through their data, sorry, it's distracting me. I beg your pardon, it's not year on year, it's month on month. So, looking through their social channel, you can see that this tells a really lovely story. So, not a lovely story, but it's interesting to watch how it happens. 15th of March, COVID-19 began to impact, and they had 0 footfall in store. It was Cheltenham Festival, which is not surprising, so more, but more, which always makes footfall drop. But more and more shops started to close. And so the owner of Keith Garrett Shoes, once lockdown happened, thought, well, I better, she turned everything off. She just didn't know what to do on social because she felt it was inappropriate to sell. She wasn't sure, obviously the shop was shut, but she wasn't sure whether she could sell online. And so she didn't know what to post. So she uses social to drive people into store and to buy stuff online. And she wasn't sure whether it's still okay to sell stuff. So she turned everything off and started just resharing the best shots from her past photo shoots. They started reminiscing about products and just chatting. They then celebrated 45 years as a shoe shop, and so they posted some content around that, and they rewarded all comments with a £10 gift voucher, and they personalised each reply to those, so they really remained engaged. They then launched a whole new range of products, which we'll talk through in much more detail in a moment, and around that time they also launched a shoe competition for children. At the end of that, as I said, they saw a spike in sales that was a spike on last year's sales and also on the month before's. And what's interesting is that the owner went through a real sort of patch of anxiety about whether it was okay to trade. And the next slide I'm going to take you through lets you really understand how she made her decisions around was it okay to trade through COVID-19, how should she trade through COVID-19. She was really worried about what her customers feel about her if she started trying to sell through lockdown, because in her eyes, her most valuable asset is her customer base, and she didn't want to do anything to alienate them from her. So one of the key things she did was she launched part of her new summer range at a new price, her spring range at a new price point. She generally sells shoes at sort of £150 plus mark, and she took a strategic decision to launch her spring collection with 2 of her product range at a much lower price point. Her mindset was very much that if she was going to start selling again, she needed to do so in a way that was in line with the market. And her thought process was much more was that her target market was mummies, and if they had expensive shoes arriving in the post with husbands at home, that would damage her brand forever. Whereas a fun pair of trainers was probably better than too much gin. And this is how she did it. So looking at her data on slide 28, there are a number of call-outs on this slide, so I'm going to keep pressing the button, and whoever's pressing the button on the other end will need to keep pressing the button with me. Let's see how we go. So this graph is taken from the Maybe platform, and it shows, if I just run through the graphs top to bottom. Down the left-hand side, you've got sentiment, you've got reach, you've then got ad spend summary, you've then got see what works, a word cloud, and the business sales year to date. So if I start pressing the buttons, as COVID started to hit, they could start to see their social media reach dropping. And on Monday the 23rd, they turned everything digital off. There was nothing. They just turned off all ad spend. They're not big ad spenders, but they have a good spend that just keeps everything ticking over. So they then hit pause and thought, what do we do? And you see the immediate impact on sales. Online, it stopped. That in itself is interesting, which is that if you don't do stuff, you don't sell stuff. So what they then started to do was engage with the local conversation. I think this is really important for any business improvement districts that are on this call, which is that all this SME did was engage with the conversation in Cheltenham. But what's fascinating is that she's good at social, but she clearly doesn't do this enough, because look at the level of engagement. You can see the light purple content rising, and that was from her literally engaging in all those lovely conversations. You remember on the early slides I said make sure you just engage with content if you've got a mental block. Well, this is a mental block, absolutely. Sophie was of the mind of, I don't know what to post. I've furloughed my staff, I don't know what to do. So she just started resharing other people's content, and look at the level of engagement you can see come through. She then, on the 6th of April, started her paid social media again and turned her activity back on, just as a little test. She was thrilled with the engagement she was seeing from what she was sharing, and felt, okay, I'm going to take the next step. Now look at the positive spike in her customers. So look at the graph top left and see how her customers responded to her starting to share social content. That gave her the confidence to think, okay, I'm going to launch a range of my spring collection, but I'm going to do it at a new price point. She didn't want to take that risk of turning women off, if you like, because they knew they couldn't buy my shoes when their husbands were home. I think it was funny, but anyway. So here we go. She turned her paid content back on and launched the new trainer collection at a lower price point. And look at this point. Look at this jump in sales. Now, not only that, but she also launched a really beautiful organic competition with children. So yes, she was selling product to mums, but she was also delivering beautiful content. And we're going to look at that in a minute, but that content drove another spike in massive organic reach. But every step of the way, she looked at how her customers are feeling to understand. She didn't just launch a campaign and go all barrels. She stopped and thought really strategically about it. And I think this is the lesson of social, which is you just have to keep feeling your way. You have to understand what engages my audience, and then what makes my audience to do whatever the business thing you need them to do. In Sophie's case, it's buy a pair of shoes. But it's not as simple as that. It's making sure you stay in line with their emotion. So moving on to slide 29, you can see how she's maintained that connection with content that's not just about buy my shoes. It's about how do I entertain your children while you're in lockdown, and then how that whole beautiful idea of she provided pictures for the children to colour in. She then showcased the children beautifully through her social feeds. She took the look and feel of that competition and then put it around the trainers. And don't be misled here. This was done with very limited resource, and it was all shot on an iPhone at home and done with love and care and a lot of thought. This wasn't an agency. It was one lady really thinking how she could keep trading through COVID. And for me, that's really inspirational. So going back to those lines we saw at the beginning of all of those businesses that have stopped talking to their customers, I say, don't do that. If you can do nothing else, reshare other people's content and stop and think and pause and think, how can I engage my audience? Because if you do that, you can sell and you can beat your numbers from last month. But you've got to stop and you've got to think about it really, really hard. So she may be shut on Google, but she's very much open online. But she's done it in a thoughtful, strategic way, and she's made sure that her audience is coming with her. So hats off to you, and well done, Keith Scout Shoes. Go and check them out. They're really worth looking at. They're at Keith Scout Shoes on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And really well done, because that's a product that's really hard to sell in this market. Even in a normal world, selling shoes online is a tough gig. But this has been done well because they thought about how to reach their audience. And interestingly, those new shoes they sold here are sold to new customers, not existing customers. And I guarantee you she's selling more shoes. So she's growing her audience and growing her sales through COVID. Now, if you can do it with shoes, I'm not saying this is easy. It's taking a lot of thought and time, but anybody can replicate that for their market if they stop and think about it. But remember, it started by her engaging with the conversation that was already going on in Cheltenham. So moving on. Any questions on this case study, please fire them into the chat, and as I say, we'll answer them, and anything we can't get through on this webinar, we can answer offline afterwards as well. So big message for you, please be kind. Lovely story here from Iceland, happened sort of quite early on actually, in the whole lockdown piece. There was a couple who allegedly were going to go to Iceland to get engaged, but they couldn't go. So the fiance surprised his bride-to-be and took her to Iceland, the store, and proposed in store. Iceland was so taken with this that they have offered the happy couple a free honeymoon in Iceland. Now, as you can see, 60,000 people are engaging with this piece of content, and just what a beautiful thing to do. Great. It just be kind, and it's making the most of every opportunity that exists. Our little bit of being kind is that for a bit of fun, we've launched the Great British NHS Quiz. We felt that last week there was quite a lot of gloom and doom, and also this bit of businesses not engaging on social media is worrying us. So we have created a quiz that, as a consumer, you go and make a small donation to the NHS, and then you go through a really fun quiz on Messenger with 60 questions, and the 5 best performers from each region across the UK will qualify for a final on Zoom. Probably more business for Boohoo, hey hey. But more importantly, the 60 gifts and questions that are being made available to any business that wants to be part of it, because I understand there's a bit of a content block, I think, going on out there. Anyone interested, if you go to maybetech.com, you can pick up the details, and we'd love to get involved. But yeah, simple quiz, raising money for the NHS, and creating content for any business that's got writer's block at the moment. So, as I said, that's pretty it for the webinar. So please keep firing the questions across onto the Q&A. Here's just a little bit of what we do and how we can help you at the moment. So maybe it's all about taking your data today from Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And if you sign up for free, don't cost any money, you can have this view right now, and you can see what you could see without cost. Sign up at Maybetech, and you'll be able to see from left to right what content is working, how your customers feel, who is influencing your audience, and what is being said about your brand right now. And if you start with those 4 things, you can really make such better decisions about your social media. I always say it's a little bit, if you're flying blind, it's really hard to know what works. The minute you know what works, it's much easier to make smarter decisions. And importantly, we don't charge per seat. We let everybody log in and see this, because right now with remote working, you really need your whole team to be on the same page. So thank you. Please do not forget that your customers are your business's most valuable business asset. Stay in touch, and please sign up on mobitech.com, and we look forward to helping you more. That's me over and out, because I think there's somebody trying to dig up the road outside our house now. That's great, isn't it? I'm here on chat, so please do keep asking questions. And yeah, great to hear from you today. And go on, sign up on mobitech.com and learn what your customers are saying about your brand or your business right now. And if you've got creative block, then you can join the Great British NHS quiz and start engaging the audience. And once they start engaging with you, I guarantee your block will be removed. Thank you very much indeed.